Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm really, happy that I got to meet you through Chou Chou. I would love to know a little bit more about your background in the industry. I know you've been here for the longest time, so tell everybody what you've been doing.
Sure. Well, I'm a woodwind player. I play clarinet, saxophone, and flute. There's the clarinet. And I work in a lot of different genres as a freelancer, playing jazz, swing, classical music, blues. One of my weird specialties is Jewish klezmer music. And I'm a full-time, or was, a full-time professional musician, both as a sideman and as a band leader, doing a lot of private events, swing dances, bars and restaurants, as well as more high-profile, like festival gigs and concert series and theaters and things like that. So all manner of musical work. And mostly throughout the Mid-Atlantic, but I do sometimes tour nationally and internationally, and I've got a lot of albums out and that whole thing.
Wow, cool. So, well, how are you doing right now personally through this pandemic?
Well, I mean, it's hard. Let me preface it by saying that I realize that I'm somewhat more fortunate than most in that, first of all, me and my immediate family are all healthy right now, which is, of course, the most important thing. And my wife has a very steady, secure job. So we're not going to be thrown out on the street. And she has health insurance, which also is very important. Having said that, I've gone from having a full-time career as a musician to being pretty much completely unemployed. I mean, everything is wiped from my schedule. And it happened relatively suddenly. You know, two of the types of gigs I do a lot of different types of gigs, but two of the types of gigs I do are senior gigs, for senior communities, and swing dances. And those went right away. Like right as this crisis started to happen, those gigs naturally went away because seniors are most at risk, so that all the various retirement communities and homes started to crack down right away. And the swing dances went away because those are germ factories to begin with. But I thought, oh, well, okay, my schedule is going to suffer. I'm losing some work, but I'm not going to lose everything. And then within a matter of, a week, everything. And to make matters worse, one of my few sidelines, they say as a musician, you should have other income streams. Well, my other major income stream is I work in the senior lecture circuit, doing lifelong learning, various music history topics, all music-related classes. I do what's called the OSHER programs, which is lifelong learning for both Johns Hopkins University and Towson University. And of course, those are completely gone as well. And as with most people in the entertainment industry, 110% of what I do is non-salaried. So if I don't do the gig, I don't get paid. So like I said, I'm more fortunate than most, and I have to remind myself of that every day. But it is kind of a gut punch to see your entire career that, and I know you know this, it's struggled for years to kind of build up, a clientele and schedules, and have it just disappear overnight. You were saying earlier, before we started recording, about how this is a unique moment in history. And I remember when I first started working as a professional musician in the late 90s, some of the old timers I worked with would talk about how the Kennedy assassination was the worst time ever to be a professional musician. Because they said the nation was in mourning, and pretty much from the assassination of Kennedy, which was November 22nd, 23rd, I think, until New Year's Eve, everything was canceled. And they said they had 6 weeks without any work. But once January came, they said everything kind of picked up again. And like people felt like, okay, the period of mourning was over, life can go back to normal. Well, we're looking at longer than that. And I mean, it might be more than 6 weeks without any gigs. And then the thing I'm really worried about is even after the coronavirus infection hopefully fades and goes away, things are not going to go back to normal for those of us in the entertainment industry. Because all the people who employ us, the theaters, the production companies, the performing arts organizations, the restaurants, the bars, they have all been decimated by this. They're not going to be able to hire entertainment at their former level before, as they were before. So I'm concerned that long after the virus is gone and hopefully eradicated, we're still going to be feeling the effects of this in the entertainment business. It's going to be a long time before we have anything approaching a sense of normalcy in our respective fields. And that's kind of the thing that worries me the most about our profession, is not necessarily the effects of the next 2 months, which we know are going to be terrible, but that there are going to be lingering effects for possibly years. Not to bring everyone down, but these are some of the things I'm thinking about. Well, I don't know if you saw, I started this petition on moveon.org. If you look up it on moveon.org, you can find it, about making sure there's arts funding in the post-COVID stimulus. Because there's stimulus now, and I know people need help now, and I'm not disputing that. But I want to make sure we're not forgotten after this is over. And I think what we're going to need when this is over is the government is going to need to do massive arts funding, grants to performing arts organizations, grants to various types of agencies, grants to theater companies, grants for like municipal concert series and municipal events. And I think, and this is an important part, I think there should be huge tax breaks to restaurants and bars, wineries, breweries that hire live entertainment, feature local art, stuff like that. And I'm a little concerned that when this finally gets back to normal, 85% of the American public will be like, great, we're back to normal, it's all done. And it's not going to be back to normal for us.
Yeah, very, very valid points. I can absolutely attest to every single thing that you had to say. Thank you for saying it so well. What are you, what's your plan now? Do you have one?
I'm taking it day by day. I am doing some music lessons via Skype and Zoom and other things like that. It's not as satisfactory as teaching in person, but at least it's something. I am working with a few different people, hopefully going to do a few streaming events, some of my music and some with some other people. So that's at least something. I'm trying to plug my recordings, work them and CDs and streaming and stuff. And then I'm trying to help out a bit. Today I made an appointment to give platelets next week, because that's one thing I can do. I signed up next week. Johns Hopkins is asking for volunteers to help assemble face masks. So I'm going to do that one day next week. I figure that's, at least some way I can help out. But beyond that, I don't know. I've got a plan for the next few days and maybe the next week. But beyond that, this is a new world. This is new territory for all of us.
Yeah, got it. What about how do you have anything that you want to say to the rest of us? I know you already said quite a lot, but do you have some advice of getting by, or just some advice in general that you can give to our industry and just the world in general?
I am unsure. Like I said, count your blessings. Like I said, I try to remind myself every day that my family is healthy, we're good. And again, we're luckier than many people. I'm luckier than many people in the entertainment business. I have health insurance, and although we've lost about half of our family income, my wife has a very secure job that is not really in danger of disappearing. So, I just have to remind myself that there are plenty of musicians and DJs and artists and theater performers and out there who have lost everything and don't have that stuff. And my heart just goes out to them. And, I just hope that all the bills get suspended. They're starting to do that. But, gas, electric, phone companies, internet providers, they need to start having some moratoriums on billing. They can weather this storm better than we can. And then the government needs to step in and help, because that's the only way people in our profession are going to survive. Like I said, one of the things a lot of people are doing, and I applaud them, and I'm going to be doing some of it myself, is streaming concerts. And that's a good opportunity. And then when you stream, you say, hey, tip us at this PayPal address and this Venmo address, and that's great. But man, most of the people watching are also struggling themselves. no one has lots of disposable income right now, or at least not the people who are probably going to be watching these streaming concerts. So that's, a thing to do. It'll keep me from a life of crime, but it's not a real solution. So I don't know. It's hard not to get depressed and bummed out by it, because it's a lot of people are in tough. I watched your interview with Chou Chou, of course, and I feel for them because they've seen the same thing. And Chou Chou and Doc, neither of them have a regular job. And to be honest, they're both older. I mean, that's nerve-wracking. When I think of friends like that, I'm worried for them. I feel sick thinking about the risk they're incurring, both financially and health-wise. This is a scary time.
Totally.